Everything you've ever wanted is on the other side of fear. And it's specifically made that way because fear is the biggest obstacle to overcome. Now, the problem with fear is it's a coward and it hides behind other things. And to decipher what fear is in your life and where it lives and where it hides is part of the journey into being able to use spirituality like a magic wand, where you can start casting spells on the world around you to start giving you the abundance that you're after. But fear is the thing to overcome. Now, if fear just came to you outright and said, "What's up, I'm fear," you would know how to handle it and be able to move past that. But fear doesn't come to you in its natural form. It's a shapeshifter. That is the devil, it's fear. And what fear does is come there and ruin your life and stop you from progressing. And it sets up logic traps all over you and your energy and your life so that you fall back into fear and never start chasing your authentic self. Because on the other side of this fear, your authentic self has everything. It's abundant. And the longer you hold off on actually processing where fear is and what it is to you, the longer you push back everything that's waiting to come to you. It wants to be a part of your journey. Everything you want, all of the abundance, all of the cool things, the cars, the money, the good relationship, want you. They want to find you. In fact, they know where you are and they're trying very hard to get there. You just need to be there before they arrive. That's the only condition. Now, fear for me has come in multiple different forms. When I was a lot younger, like mid-teens, fear came in the form of physical threats, of fighting, of being attacked. And I grew up in a situation where, not that I was attacked all the time, but there was physicality and there was threats of physicality. You know, my mom was in a relationship with somebody who was hyper aggressive and passionate, and my dad was not like that at all. My dad was very calm, very mellow, chilled out. So when they got divorced and my mom met this other guy, who's not the bad person, he's not the end of the world, I'm not a victim of him, but at that point in my life, he was so hyper aggressive in how angry he got that I would then feel that and go into fear. And that's how fear got to me then. But as you get older, fear evolves, because a lot of the fear you have, especially when you're young, is irrational. You might be scared of a monster in your cupboard. Now, as you get older, your logic system beats that and says, no, there's no real monsters and they can't be in the cupboard. And that's how you kind of evolve past them. That's exactly what you do. You grow and evolve past the fear. But as you get older, fear will start morphing itself into something that is reflected at your logic level as you go. So as I was getting older, I started to become a lot more afraid of being hurt, like in a relationship. You know, once I hit my end of teenage years, I got into a very serious relationship. And that relationship led to other hurt that I was calling upon and staying in this place behind the wall instead of my abundance. And with the fear of heartbreak, that was a logical monster in the cupboard at that point. And so a lot of the things I did were in accordance with fear, not with abundance and with freedom, because fear is the biggest prison. And then when it came to starting life, earning an income, things like that, I was so scared of not being able to earn enough money to take care of all of the things that I have, the lifestyle, everything that I wanted to maintain and have more. It stopped me from being consistent. And so what happened was the fear came in the form of consistency. I was scared of consistency because if it didn't bring a return now, would it ever bring a return? And that was where I started panicking and freaking out and getting scared of that, because I would try something new and I'm definitely not built to sit behind a desk or work in a factory. I've done it. I hated it. It's so against my nature. And I spent a lot of time tasting the waters with different industries, different products, being sales, being in the warehouse, in different areas. And none of them ever fit. But doing this, speaking to people, connecting with people, helping process information like spirituality, and making it practical so that people can apply it, that is what set my heart and soul on fire. That became my purpose. Like, I want to share this with people, along with my creativity. If that's something you're interested in seeing, learning about how to make spirituality practical so that you can apply it in your life, that's what this channel's about. And if you don't want to miss any of this content, make sure to hit that subscribe button. So for those of you who are new here, I really appreciate you being here. So fear will evolve with you. It ages with you. It grows up and it learns new ways and gets smarter, just like you do in life, to take over your entire existence. And that's what the ego wants to do, the devil. It wants to keep you in fear. It wants to keep you stuck. And so you will put fear in places where your best growth is. So this topic leads into a spiritual awakening. At least for me, what had happened was I went from in this fear place and being completely crushed by it. And it led to my deep spiritual awakening, where I started to understand that I can live here and that the gate doesn't even exist. I've built it. And the bricks of that fear wall are built in the form of conditions. There's only conditions to having certain things, of condescension. I felt like I was less than everyone. My judgment, it was built from judgment of people and the way they did things. It was built in that consistency that I needed so badly to make things work. And that's how fear is built in all of these places, at least in my life. And what it led to was me manifesting all of those fears. Because the way that we manifest is through our emotions. If you want to see a video on how to speak this language of emotion, as in control your emotions to the degree that it manifests your world around you, and how to do that, leave this video a like so that I know creating that content will be valuable for you. But essentially, those emotions create your life around you. And so many of us, I think everyone, is actually running on the system where emotions are a reaction to what's going on around you. And if emotions are reactive, you can't use them to manifest, to create your world, because they are controlled by things in the world. So that's why what the awakening was for me was letting go of the fear. And to do that, I needed to let go of the value of the world. None of it meant anything anymore. And believe me, the universe made it super easy. It made it super easy because I valued a good relationship. I valued earning a good income. I valued so many things in this world. And they never came. The way I was, they were just not coming. The good relationship wasn't there. The things I wanted, the money, the support, the stability, those things never came in this world. Not then. Not when that was what I valued. Because for me, it was breakup. I lost my cousin at his 21st birthday. He died. It was going through, shortly after that, my dog dying. For some people, that might not be a big deal. For me, it really was. My aunt, who I'm very close to, her and I had a bit of distance, and that broke my heart. So everything I valued was crumbling around me. And then the world was like, don't worry, we'll make it even more easy for you to choose this abundance. And it brought a pandemic to my doorstep right in the mix of it, which we all experienced. And in that pandemic, I realized that having the things that I was striving to achieve and doing it through being scared of what the other side of that coin was what ruined the manifestation coming in. So I had to get out of that fear trap. I had to get out of being stuck in what if, get out of being stuck in the fear-based thinking. So let go of the value. I then understood that I was being ruled by fear. And the way I found that out was by asking questions that turned inward. If you want to learn a way to figure out where fear lives, take a look at this video here. I did this a couple of days ago where I speak about how to use a question to manifest things around you. And the question is, why do I? So why do I want a nice car? Why do I want a nice girlfriend? And all of those things led to one thing. I'm scared of the alternative. And being scared of that alternative is what stopped anything coming in. That is the wall that's stopping everything from coming in. So it's a good step for you to take, figuring out where fear lives within you and in your space, and dealing with that fear by facing it. The first thing I did was walk up to the bricks and start pushing, and I realized they weren't even mortared in. They weren't even solidified, they just fall over. Fear has no power. It's the shadow it casts that makes it scary and intimidating. But when you go and shine the light on fear itself, it has no power. I realized that holding the things I was scared of away ended up being way harder than the fearful thing itself. Because I ended up in the place I was dead scared of. I ended up in the place going, nothing's happening for me. My musical dreams can't be achieved. Now I want to show you how all of this changed, because I think it's important to share how all of that changed once I had this deep spiritual awakening. And it was in the form of opportunity. So I had the opportunity to go to America. That's the place I wanted to be. I had my first dream car. I have many of them, but the first one, I got my dream car. My relationship. I didn't speak to my girlfriend for 1.5 years. We were exes through the pandemic. We didn't speak. It was like no communication. And when I had the awakening, it was 2 weeks after I had the shift of releasing fear that she came back. Now, I think this world consists of 3 main things: who, what, and where. People, places, things. So the place was America, the people, the person was my ex, and the things was the car and the income. And after I had that spiritual awakening, everything changed for me. All of those things came because fear was no longer blocking me. I wasn't judging different things. It wasn't conditions that needed to be perfectly set up for me to have the things I wanted. So how you get from where you are to where you want to be, process where that fear lies. And I'm about to show you how to do that. So the way that we process and understand where fear exists for us is we start to ask ourselves questions. It has to be an internal thing to every emotional reaction we have around us. So if we see somebody that aggravates us, let's say we go out with a bunch of friends and there's this one person in the friend group who has the punch me face. I don't know, whatever it is for you. Maybe they've spoken badly about you behind your back. And when you see them, you feel your blood pressure just rise. It's in those moments that you start to ask yourself why. And it will come down to a fear. The emotion you will find is based in a fear. And I'm not saying you're scared of them, but it's whatever outcome from that situation is going to happen because of the situation. Let's say it was them talking bad about you and they know somebody who you've just done an interview with for a new job and they have been chatting. What if they've said those bad things to that person? They've been chatting to the interviewer and it's going to impact your chance at this job. You see how it can break down into fear. We have to go to where that fear is, and then we need to say, fine, fear, I surrender to you. I give up. If you're here to ruin my life, do it already. And the funny thing is, when you challenge it, it will. It will ruin every aspect of your life that's not authentically you. It will take it away. It removes the problem, and it takes itself with it. So fear comes in, grabs all the things that don't serve you, and leaves with it. That's what it's trying to do. It wants to serve you, as much as it might not feel like it. What it's saying is, I will go when all of this goes, because it is built of these things. And remember what I was saying, how fear grows up with you, it evolves with you, it changes with you. And this is the whole point, is because fear is ever growing, those things are made of the essence of fear. And when we pull it apart, these things come flooding in. Everything that's meant for us, everything we've wanted, starts flushing into our lives. And it is such a liberating experience to not have fear. So for me, it was in the midst of the pandemic. I sat there with my aunt. We had just started speaking and I went down to the coast to help her move back up to where we live. And we went to the coast and I had this deep spiritual awakening. And it was kind of this situation in a nutshell. I realized that everything I was doing was based on the fear of something else. I was like, okay, fear, it's you or me, but it can't be both. I can't live with you anymore. Like, you need to leave. It was like kicking out a bad tenant. I had to say, I can't be here anymore. Either you're going to take me out or I'm going to take you out. And in that, everything that was false, that I had built these constructs of in my head about how things worked and why they worked, fell away. They didn't exist anymore. And so in your life, it might be things of recognition. Think about the things you want. They are rooted in the fear of not having them. Recognition, worthiness, value, having someone to love and care about you. Why? Because you're scared of the alternative. And when you release all of that fear and you say, I'm no longer going to be scared or held captive by you, if that's the way it's meant to be, I'm not going to try and control it. And you surrender the idea of control along with it. All of it goes away, everything you want starts coming in. The way manifestation works is through that emotion. And like I said, don't forget, if you want to see that video, leave this video a like so I know to make one on how to speak the language of emotion to manifest the world around you. But the first obstacle you have to face is fear. And the longer you let it go on, the more problems it's going to slot in between you and everything you want. And then it seems like you'll never get there. And for me, that ended in depression. I was in a really bad space. Process your fear. Accept that it's there. It's not pleasant. And this is what we call shadow work in spiritual terms. We face our fears. Fear of not being recognized, fear of not being valued, fear of not being loved. There's so many. And it will be in your own format for you that you can go and identify. And the way you know you're doing it right, the feeling is the guidance. The feeling is the compass. So it will guide you through what you're feeling. It will guide you through the process of releasing fear and saying, don't you prefer this feeling? Don't you prefer this? And you will choose it because the logic falls away as well. A lot of the logic systems you've brought up don't even exist as a potential threat. Your fear is false. And this is one of the biggest things that you can do to shift it, is by testing it. Fine, fear, take me out. Now, a chemical reaction is actually going on in your body at the point of fear. Your body is embodying the reaction of that incident. So if that's the case for fear, it's the same for other emotions. Now, if we start going into happiness and goodness and we ditch fear, we start to have the chemical reactions of those emotions, and that in itself brings the frequency of it to you. It's like a radio. If you're tuning into a station and you're doing that through like the station of happiness, then you will get the frequency of that coming to you. So all of the things you want live on the other side of fear. You have to just get past the fear. If this video has added value, let me know in the comments. Leave a like, subscribe. Let me know that this is really valuable to you. I look forward to chatting to you in the comments. If you go and take a look at all of my other videos, I respond to every comment. So if you leave me a comment, I will chat to you and I look forward to it. Thanks so much for watching. I hope to see you in the next video. Mad love and light.